and water to those
Morning, everyone.
in line to vote. Sterling says they were just closing a loophole.
Literally, we have reports about the handing out Warnock water. I mean, that's the issue we're running into. So we basically closed the loophole. They can still hand out water and food. This has to be 150 feet away, the way it has been for decades in this state.
A warning was sent out from CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky.
Please, take this moment very seriously.
She said she noticed numbers are again going up in the battle against COVID-19. You're listening to USA Radio News.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-215-5141. 800-215-5141. That's 800-215-5141.
Marine biologists are trying to explain why over the past 3 weeks, people are being bitten by more sharks along Florida's east coast. USA's John Clemens has more.
All three survived as the black-tipped sharks were making their annual migration from as far north as New York to south of the Miami-Dade County line in search for warmer waters. Dr. Stephen Kajura, a professor of biology sciences at Florida Atlantic University, tells us as many as 15,000 sharks can be counted in the water.
We have a lot of sharks here. We have a lot of spring breakers in the water, but we tend to have relatively few bites on people overall. Now, this last week has been an exception. We've had a couple of bites in quick succession.
From the USA Radio News Texas Bureau, I'm John Clemens.
NASA says a large asteroid won't threaten the Earth for at least 100 years. USA's Dan Naraki reports.
NASA says that the Earth is safe from one massive asteroid, at least for the next 100 years. Astronomers say that after new observations, the 1,100-foot Apophis asteroid will miss the Earth when it flies by in 2068. The asteroid, first detected in 2004, will also pass by the planet in 2029 and 2036. The space rock will fly by the Earth at a distance of 20,000 miles when it visits in 8 years. From the USA Radio News Ohio Bureau, I'm Dan Naraki.
For USA Radio News, I'm Whitney.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the
Radio
views
News
of
cut off a little bit.
Ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
All right.
Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns?
Right.
It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro News, here on AM 1530 WBBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
And good morning. Welcome to Middleboro in Review. Today is the 28th of March, the last Sunday in March, and Wednesday is the last day of the month. So Thursday will be a new month, April the 1st, and yeah, so today's the last Sunday of the month of March. So let's do the weather. We have currently in Middleboro 40 degrees with a high of 58 today. There may be some rain in the forecast. 58 degrees is the high. Tomorrow, clouds in the forecast. 53 for the high. 29 for the low. And on Tuesday, no clouds at all sun. 58 degrees. So we're going to have some iffy weather the next couple of days. Some iffy kind of weather. But Tuesday should be very, very nice. In Taunton, 38 degrees currently. 58 for the high. And 53 for the high tomorrow. Same weather. Cloudy most of the day. Today, maybe some rain, cloudy most of the day tomorrow. And Tuesday, nice and sunny. Driscoll, North Dakota. 18 degrees, very cold there. 60 for the high today. That's a very big difference from what it will be this morning. Again, 18 degrees, currently a high of 60, and this is in Driscoll, North Dakota. And also there may be clouds in the forecast there. Driscoll, Texas, clouds in the forecast, 75 degrees. Possible rain in the forecast. 56 for the low, 75 for the high. It is 75 currently, and this is in Driscoll, Texas. Okay, so what do we have planned for today's program? We'll talk a little bit about upcoming blood drives that are going to be happening around the community of Middleboro. We have a couple in Taunton and Halifax to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about some sports. Middleboro had a game. Middleboro football had a game. And they won, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit, finish up talking about dog licenses as the deadline approaches. The deadline is the end of the month. So we'll talk about that as well. And many, many other things. There's maybe a couple of different Amtrak-related stories to talk about as well. And a lot more here on today's program. Today is the 28th of March, 2021. Like I said earlier, last day of the month of March. And let's start by mentioning the blood drives, because in Halifax, during the month of February, they had blood drives. They had a blood drive at the town hall. Now, they came out about a couple weeks ago with their schedule for the 2021 year when it comes to blood drives. So they have a lot of blood drives coming up in 2021. The next one coming up, which will be in the town of Halifax, they are sponsoring the additional Red Cross blood drives. So these are Red Cross blood drives, and they will be at the Great Hall of the Halifax Town Hall. And that is 499 Plymouth Street in Halifax. And they will be on the following dates. And all of the times are 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And here are the dates. The following dates: Friday, April 9th. Friday, June 4th. Friday, August 6th. Friday, October 15th. And Friday, November the 19th. They're all on Fridays, all from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Anyone interested in participating can visit www.redcrossblood.org and type in 02338 to find the blood drive. 02338 is Halifax's zip code. And you can find the blood drives there. And we have a blood drive coming up in Taunton. And let me get that up here. It's coming up, I believe it's the 16th. And it is the 16th. Friday, April the 16th, 2021. A blood drive will take place at Christ Community Church, 41 Stevens Street in East Taunton. And that is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call. Give Christ Community Church a call, and let me get that number for everyone to give them a call really quick here. And the number is 508-880-6202. Again, 508-880-6202. That is the number to call to get a hold of Christ Community Church to set up an appointment for the year blood drive here on the 16th of April. All right. So that is the upcoming blood drives here in Taunton and also in Halifax. Now, it is 7:15, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we're going to talk a little bit about dog licenses. That's coming up. And we'll also give some updates on sports, some Bruins updates, some Red Sox updates. Opening day is April the 1st, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about middleboro football. We're going to talk about the NCAA. And there is a lot of other things going on, so we're going to talk about that when we return. You're listening to us on WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. Tune in at WVBF 1530. The audio now number, 605-562-7958. Also on the YouTube channel, Middleboro in Review. It is all lowercase. That is all lowercase, and you can find us there as well. And on the Facebook page, Middleboro in Review as well. So a lot of different ways to listen to the show, and a lot of different ways to listen to WVBF. When this show is not on, there are several ways. Like I said, tune in. The AM and FM, the 1530 AM, the 99.7 FM. So that is many, many different ways to listen to WVBF. All right, 7:17. We'll be right back here on Middleboro Review. Today is the 28th of March 2021.
Hi, Joey.
Hello.
After the show's over already.
What?
After the show's over.
Okay.
It's alright, you don't need to be here all the time, you know?
What?
You don't need to be here all the time, you know?
I missed you anyway.
Don't say Dawn came in, just say, just introduce me now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't make it sound like I'm running late.
Spark Street Auto Body, located at 48 Spark Street in Brockton, Massachusetts.
Got all the blood drives out of the way. I talked about weather and blood drives. So that's good.
Anybody on Facebook?
One person is watching.
Who's that?
I don't know. Yeah. One person's watching.
You don't know?
It didn't tell me. It usually tells me. It usually tells me who tunes in.
That's a bit of Facebook friend, right?
No, it usually tells me anyway.
No, it's not telling you?
No, it didn't pop up. Whoever's listening, give a little hello in the comment section.
Maybe Siri's listening.
What?
Maybe Siri's listening.
Hi, Scott.
Or Scott?
Hi, Paul. Good morning, Paul.
Many members continue to serve in our armed forces, with several serving in combat areas now. We sponsor and or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year, and as a nonprofit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support,
All right.
please visit
This guy ever get back yet?
Yes, I talked to him last week. He's gonna send something over. He's got an event, I guess, coming up in June. So he's gonna send something over shortly, I think. I'm doing great this morning, Scott. How are you?
Scott. My good friend Scott.
anyone affected by the COVID-19 crisis is welcome to register as a client with no income thresholds. To register by phone, just call 508-947-1717 and leave a message by selecting option 1. Your call will be returned by a volunteer who will add you to our list of clients. For the homebound or others who are self-quarantined, we will shop for you, deliver the groceries directly to your door. During the pandemic, we've taken all necessary precautions for the safety of clients and volunteers and have managed to remain open throughout the crisis.
Hi, this is Ray Brown, inviting you to tune in to Talkin' Birds, a show about wild birds, birding, and conservation, right here on WVBF, broadcasting from the Taunton Federal Credit Union studios at 14 Church Green. Join us for informative interviews and fun information about birds and birding. It's Talkin' Birds, Saturday mornings at 8 and Sunday mornings at 9, here on WVBF, AM 1530 and 99.7 FM.
All right, there we go.
Hi, this is Jim Larkin. Hope you can join me every Sunday from noon to 2 o'clock here on WBBF, the Sounds of the Emerald Isle. We'll have some great Irish music, some folk, traditional, country, and contemporary, and sometimes some live singers in the studio. And to make you laugh, some Irish comedy. That's Sundays from noon to 2 right here on WBBF, 1530 Taunton, Middleboro, and on the internet at hometowntalkradio.com.
Perfect. We are back. And welcome back to the Middleboro in Review for March the 28th, 2021. The final Sunday in March. As of Wednesday, we will be 25% through the year. 3 months through as of Wednesday. So, wow. Already. Where does the time go? Alright, so we have sitting across from me Dawn this morning. Good morning, Dawn.
Morning, Joe.
How are you, Dawn?
How you doing on this wonderful Sunday?
It is a very nice Sunday.
Did you have a good Saturday yesterday?
Yeah, Saturday was fun. Saturday was fun. We took a little vacation per se. Well, not really. We were in
Palma.
We were in
Palma.
the state.
Yeah.
We were in the state.
We went to Palma, Mass. Got some lunch. And we went through a little town called Monson, Massachusetts, which I haven't been there in about 10 years. Most people know, well, it's happened 10 years ago. They had a F3 tornado rip through there on June 1st, 2011, and devastated the town real bad. And took a ride through there, and I remember going there, I think it was July of 2011. I took a ride to see how bad it was. I remember looking over the hill and I saw trees just ripped down like toothpicks. Looked like it looked like a plan for a 12-lane highway coming over the hill. And then I think it went across the valley, pretty much right across the police station, then back up and then heading points east. They said that tornado started in Westford, Mass, and went 39 miles, and finally puckered out around somewhere in Sturbridge. But it was a path of destruction like this state hasn't seen in years, since I think the 30s. I know there was one in the 30s, or the 50s, I believe it was. Not too sure about my tornado history, but that was devastating. But so we took a ride through the town yesterday, and it's unbelievable how nature reclaims itself. Because I was looking for the path. 10 years ago, you could see the path like it was. They were ripping it down for construction, and I had a look. We talked to a local resident, And he pointed up there, so he kind of knows because he's from the area. I kind of thought I saw it, but it just goes to show how nature just takes over. I mean, that a devastating storm, it looked really bad. And nature always takes back over. There's always hope. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. The town is beautiful. Oh my God, with the churches they have and granite. What was that town? Was that a town hall we went by? It was all granite.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was unbelievable. If you ever have a chance to go online and check out the buildings on Munson, Mass, it's absolutely beautiful. It's the churches, the architectural design. Just I kind of really like the town. The ball field in the middle. My second time being there. The only time I went for the first time is to be curious about the storm because of the tornado. So it just goes to show that nature always takes over again. And I couldn't really tell. I mean, I could tell a little bit, but 10 years ago, it'll be June 1st, 2021, it'll be the 10th anniversary.
So our friend Scott, who's from Georgia, I just mentioned on the Facebook that there was an EF4 tornado that hit down where he was. And I looked that up. It was the Newnan tornado, if I'm saying that correctly. And it was the 10th. The 10th of a very rare EF4 tornado in 7 decades for the state of Georgia. So there's been 10 EF4 tornadoes in Georgia since the 50s. So it's rare. But on Friday morning, an EF4 tornado hit Georgia and Coweta County. Was the strongest tornado to hit the state in almost a decade, and only the 10th EF4 tornado to tear through the state since the 50s, or since 1950. Prior to Friday's tornado, the most recent EF4 tornado occurred during the 2011 super outbreak, which brought hundreds of tornadoes to the deep south. Less than 0.5% of tornadoes in Georgia reach EF4, EF5 magnitude. And they hit Georgia roughly once in a decade. Most violent tornadoes have occurred early in the year and in the northern portion of the state. In all, the state has seen more than 2,000 tornadoes since 1950. Friday's tornado struck in the west central Georgia community of Newnan, a town of more than 40,000. So, yes, there was a tornado quite recently in Georgia.
They're scary. They are very scary. I remember in 1997, I thought I was I was living in East Bridgewater at the time, and I remember leaving work and I worked in Abington. I was heading home to East Bridgewater, rolling down 18 and looking in my rearview mirror, and I just saw the end of the world. Just the clouds. It was in the middle of the afternoon. I think it was like in May, and I was sitting there waiting. And where I was living, the basement. You had to go outside to go into the basement. It wasn't, we didn't have a set of stairs from the first floor to the basement. You had to actually go outside. So I'm sitting there, like standing in front of the bulkhead, ready to run downstairs and batten down the hatches. Apparently, I think that was in April or May of 1997, and Whitman got hit. And I'm not sure if they called it I'm not sure if it was anything. It was a smaller tornado, but it was a touchdown. And I remember Whitman got hit a little bit. And then I remember back in 1989, Greenland, New Hampshire, up on I-95 near Portsmouth, got hit too, about 88 and 89. And just driving by there and just watching, looking at the forest and just seeing how it's just matchsticked at all, just 6-8 lanes wide. It's unbelievable. It's scary. I mean, hurricanes are scary, snowstorms are scary, but tornadoes are frightening. Because you see a hurricane, you can evacuate, they can let you know it's coming, you can take precautions. Same with a snowstorm. You have an idea. Tornadoes, you have no warning. You have nothing.
Yeah.
And the sound of the freight train, they say it sounds like a freight train. Yeah, it's true. It's. I thought I heard that, and the one in Whitman wasn't even considered an E anything. It was just a funnel cloud or something. So, I thought I heard something. It's weird how the air just like evaporates. That's all. I can't really describe it. I mean, I'm not a meteorologist or anything like that. I don't think BVF has one yet, do we?
No, we don't. We don't.
Maybe one day we'll get one.
All right. Sports, real quick. Before we take another commercial break, we're going to talk a little bit about Amtrak today. There's a couple of stories of interest. And actually, before we talk about Amtrak, there's one other thing I do want to talk about. There is an event coming up in Middleboro that I want to talk about. But there's a couple of notes of interest when it comes to Amtrak nationally. So I want to talk a little bit about that. All right, so sports. So we're going to focus on hockey first. So what I do when it comes to hockey and reporting on hockey, I talk about the players on the Bruins that come from the state of Massachusetts. So there are 3. The first one, Chris Wagner, who is from Walpole, has played in 25 games. He has 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points. The next one, Matt Grzelcyk. He is from Charlestown. He's played in 17 games, 2 goals and 8 assists for 10 points. And Charlie Coyle, who is from East Weymouth, has played in 29 games for 5 goals and 4 assists for 9 points. So those are the 3 Bruins who are from the state of Massachusetts, who play on the Bruins currently and are doing very, very well. So, yeah, those are update on the Bruins. Update on NCAA men's basketball. The March Madness tournament continues. Number 4, Florida State will take on number 1, Michigan, today. Number 11, UCLA takes on number 2, Alabama, tonight. Also tonight, Oregon and USC. Also today, Gonzaga takes on Creighton. Teams like Arkansas, they picked up victories and are going on to the Elite 8. Baylor picked up a victory and is going on to the Elite 8. Loyola Chicago made it again to the Sweet 16. However, they're not going to go any further. They have been beaten by Oregon State. They'll take on Houston. Houston took care of Syracuse. So that is 2 of the 4 games that have been decided for the Elite 8. So there's still a couple games left, 4 games, which will decide the rest of the Elite 8. In NCAA women's March Madness. There's going to be a couple of matchups in the Elite Eight already that have been decided. Baylor and Connecticut is the match to watch of the entire March Madness tournament. And I mean the entire March Madness tournament. Men's, women's. This is the matchup to watch. Baylor versus Connecticut. Two teams who are very, very good and who are very, very well coached. On the Connecticut side, you have great, great talent, coached by an amazing coach, Gino Auriemma. And Connecticut has been continuing to dominate, and probably will continue to dominate until beaten. There's really no way of putting it. I mean, Connecticut has been dominant in March Madness for a very long time now. And they make it again to the Elite Eight. Indiana and Arizona is a matchup to watch as well. The 4th seed and the 3rd seed. Matchups that are going to be happening today to decide the rest of the Elite Eight. Missouri State versus Stanford. Oregon versus Louisville. Georgia Tech versus South Carolina. And Texas versus Maryland. So those games will be today to decide the rest of the Elite Eight. If I had to make a prediction, I think you're going to see Connecticut back in the championship game. Who they face, I don't know yet. But that could be a very interesting matchup as well. I think Connecticut can do it. I think Connecticut can easily make it back to the championship game. So, in local sports, Middleboro football defeated East Bridgewater. They pretty much defeated them pretty easily, 34-8. This was a very important league game within the shortened COVID-19 season. So apparently this season will be shortened due to COVID. I was not aware of that. But we're continuing the year here. And it was a pretty easy game for Middleboro. They got off to a big lead, and they didn't look back. 34-8. So now Middleboro moves to 2-1 because they came into the game with a 1-1 record, and same thing with East Bridgewater. They came in with a 1-1 record, so they dropped to 1-2. Also, Middleboro continues to impress early on in the season. We'll have more updates on the Sachems football team as the month continues and as the season continues here. It is a shortened season, I think, as it said, so there is probably a few more games, and we'll see what Middleboro does and if they make the playoffs and what they have in store for the playoffs if they do indeed make it to the playoffs. So, 7:39 a.m.
Excuse me, Joe?
Yes?
It's funny that you're talking football in the spring.
Yeah.
Because that's normally is not the conversation.
No, it's not. No.
That's different. I remember talking to a friend of mine. Well, he's a colleague, not a colleague. I work with him, and he's a football coach. And I don't work with him. He works for a city, and I have to go there to take care of something with my oil truck once a year. He's a real nice guy. His name's Jonathan, and he's a football coach. And we were talking about spring scrimmage a couple of years before he was talking about how Connecticut, had spring scrimmage, and Massachusetts didn't have it for some reason. It was kind of a crazy. It was some crazy rule that I don't remember, but he knew it all because he was a football coach. Now we're talking football because of COVID in the spring. So I wonder if this is going to bring back the spring scrimmage once everything's back to normal.
Maybe.
Because
it
that
definitely
really
could.
helps.
It definitely could.
That really helps, I think, the spring scrimmage.
Yeah, and colleges do it.
Well, the problem is I don't know if it's a problem, but when they start their practice.
Oh, we have a phone call here. Let's take a phone call here. Let me just put my things on here. Okay, you're on WVBF. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
By playing in the fall, when you've got bigger schools like Notre Dame, USC, and others playing, they kind of get shuffled to the back. You don't see the games as much as you want to. With this, they're on the front burner. And I wonder what you thought about the FCS possibly going to a spring schedule, at least for the next few seasons, to see how it does, because I just think it puts the athletes more in the spotlight. I'm going to hang up and listen, okay?
Yep. All right, so that is an interesting idea as well. Just having it in the spring as well is a very interesting idea for, like I said, the FCS. Like you said, the FCS and really all sorts of other leagues as well. Just having it in the spring. Like I did mention, they have the college scrimmages in the spring, and I think it would be a good idea to have something like that in the spring, and also to have the FCS be more televised as well. I think they should be televised, and they should be shown off to the national media, because FCS, they got a lot of great players in the FCS. There's a quarterback, I believe, in the FCS that is going to go very high in the draft. And it continues. It's been a thing for a while. A particular team in the FCS has put together some very good talent, and they've been drafted pretty high in the draft. Don has something to say here for a second.
Yeah, before Chris called, he makes a good point. I was also talking about high school too, because they start the practice in August, and some people would just be like, well, that's how it is if you're in football, I guess. The kids got to go and they got to sweat it out, 100 degrees, 90 degrees, or whatever, and that's terrible, in my opinion, to be starting that hot. Because usually football is a cool, you play in cold weather, except for when they practice in August. So if they can get off some practice time in April, May, granted, have that practice time in August, but if you have brutal hot days, I don't know. I drive by and I see those kids in August, and it's just, I've worked out in the hot sun. I'm a contractor. I know how bad it is. I just feel bad for the kids. It's so hot sometimes. But the thing is, you got to show up for practice, this your football, and they're cooking. And maybe that's a rite of passage to be a football player, I guess, like that. But it's just, it's tough.
You see problems that these players run into where they could get seriously hurt. When it comes to that, the heat is very bad in the summer.
Right, and they don't want to disappoint the coach, and all their peers looking at them, and so they can't walk off or say I'm tired, because You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's just, I don't know what's the happy medium. I mean, you got to be tough to be in football, but most of the games is like September on. It's cool. So you got that 3-week period of August. I think they start a couple weeks before they start school. So I see them out there like on the latter half of August, like the last 3 weeks or whatever. So I always felt bad for the kids who had to be out there, and I figure if they could do some. But then I know then there's another year, and I really don't know much about the game, so I could be barking up the wrong tree as far as doing practice in the spring and then going into the summer. But I mean, if you know you got to be on the football team, you kind of know. You kind of know, like in the spring, if you got to be on the next year's football team. So why not start it like in May and get a month's worth out of it? And if you have some real tough days, you can at least you have to practice before the summer.
All right, let's take a commercial break, and we'll be right back here on Middleboro Review, 1530 AM, 99.7 FM, March 28th, 2021, Middleboro in Review. There we go. Second there? Okay.
Am I barking up the wrong tree?
No.
About that?
No, this is important. I think this is something that high schools should think about.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
the
way too hot.
Yeah, I think this is something
Some
that
would say-
athletics, that the state should probably think about as well. Changing. I mean, I don't know about changing, games, obviously, but maybe practices. But yeah, it is something that's going to be very interesting to see in the foreseeable future if that happens or
Landscape
not.
Supply, located at 457 Wareham Street, Middleborough, Massachusetts, just off of Route 28 and 495, is the place to go for all your landscaping needs. They supply stone, mulch, firewood, loom, granite, and seashells. They also have certified playground wood chips. Call 508-947-5363 to order and schedule a delivery.
Okay. 092.
The COVID vaccine is a critical tool to protect yourself in the pandemic.
But you might have questions
152.
about its safety. The same safety measures used for all vaccines were used for the COVID vaccine. Tens of thousands participated in vaccine trials to prove it's safe.
Since then, millions of people of all races and ethnicities have gotten the vaccine and experienced only mild side effects.
I'm thinking we'll only be able to talk about one of the anthrax
When it's
stories.
your turn, trust the facts. Get the vax.
Okay. 6-3, enter.
St. Vincent de Paul of Sacred Heart Church in Middleborough serves
see
the
here.
residents of the towns of Middleborough, Lakeville, Carver, and
Let's do the Canadian Pacific Kansas City Southern Ranger,
on Oak Street, directly across
because
the
that
street
might
from
be
Sacred
pretty big.
Heart Church in downtown Middleborough. At this time, we serve approximately 500 families in our service area, and many of them come to us for various types of aid. This can take many forms and include many of the following programs: utilities and rent assistance, agency referrals, clothing and furniture vouchers, and temporary lodging. For more information,
I can't believe how good this came out. It came out really, really good.
What?
I did this in my car. This, recording and stuff. And it came out really well. Not a lot, no echo, no nothing. Can't even tell I did it in my car. It's very well done, I think. Oh. All right. 3, 2, and we're back here on Middleboro Review. And let me turn my co-host's mic up here.
Sometimes that's not a good thing, right?
All right. Real quick. Coming up after the news, we will have Bread of Life, the Bread of Life program that is on usually from 8 to 8:30. That will be on after the news, so at 8:05. At 8:30, the Rosary. 9 o'clock, the Talking Birds program. At 9:30, Keys of the Kingdom. 10 o'clock, All on God. 11 o'clock, Musical Odyssey. At noon to 2 o'clock, Sounds of the Emerald Isle with Jim Larkin. And at 2 to 3 o'clock, Stand Up Strong with Ed Miller and Tony Branch. All right, let's switch to talking about an event coming up here in Middleboro. The Birtwood School is going to be offering a master class outside on the patio. They've been doing this quite a few times during the pandemic. Taunton native John Cardoza, Broadway cast member of the Alanis Morissette production Jagged Little Pill, is offering an outdoor masterclass at the Birtwood School of Performing Arts on Sunday, April the 18th, from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It will take place on the patio at the Birtwood School of Performing Arts. John will teach a combo from Jagged Little Pill and offer a Q&A. The registration fee is $120 to register. Email birtwoodschool@aol.com. All right. So that is coming up this April. Again, April 18th. And the registration is $120. They've done several of these. And it's very interesting. Everyone who is interested should register for it. It's very interesting. So that is coming up April 18th. We have an election coming up on April the 3rd, which is this upcoming Saturday, actually. So it is coming up rather quickly here.
What, for Middleboro?
For Middleboro, yes. Yeah. April 3rd. Here are the positions available. Or here are the positions that are up for election. Board of Selectmen. 1 selectman member for 3 years. Gas and Electric. 2 commissioners for 3 years. School Committee. 2 school committee members for 3 years. Board of Assessors. 1 assessor for 3 years. Town Moderator. 1 town moderator for 3 years. Finance Committee. 2 Finance Committee seats for 3. And 1 Finance Committee member seat for 2. That is 2 for 3 years and 1 for 2 years. Planning Board. 1 Planning Board seat for 5 years. Park Commissioners. 2 Park Commissioners for 3 years. Housing Authority. 1 Housing Authority member for 5 years. So those are the positions available in this upcoming... These are the positions you're going to see on the ballot this upcoming Saturday. And you'll see the names as well on there for the respective people who are running for the respective seats.
And it's important you get out and vote.
Definitely. Very important that you get out and vote in this election, in every election. Rather it be state, local, or national. It's very important that you vote.
I think local affects most people the most.
Yes.
A lot of people I talk to just vote in the presidential election. I'd say a majority of Americans just do the presidential election and then midterms, but a lot of people don't even vote locally. And that has a lot to do with what's going on in your community and what affects you and your neighbors.
Yes, very important, very important. And definitely go out and vote on Saturday. Very important. It will be pretty much all day when you go out and vote. So if after work or after whatever you are doing on Saturday, definitely make some time to go and vote. All right, 7:54 a.m. We're going to quickly talk a little bit about the Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern merger. There apparently is going to be a merger between the two companies here, Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern. They're merging. On Sunday morning, and this is done the 21st. So last Sunday morning, just hours after news leaked that a merger was in the works, the two Class 1 railroads announced their intentions to create the first rail network connecting the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. So, U.S., Mexico, and Canada. The new railroad will be called Canadian Pacific Kansas City. The deal is worth $29 billion and will need the approval of the U.S. Surface Transportation Board. According to a press release, the boards of both companies are backing the deal. This transaction will be transformative for North America, providing significant positive impacts for our respective employees, customers, communities, and shareholders, said CP President and Chief Executive Officer Keith Creel. This will create the first U.S.-Mexico-Canada railroad, bringing together two railroads that have been keenly focused on providing quality service to their customers to unlock the full potential of their networks. CP and KCS have been the two best performing Class 1 railroads for the past 3 years on a revenue growth basis. And there's a map here. You can check it out. Railfan.com is where the article is, and you can check out this map here. It shows exactly what it will look like. The combined Canadian Pacific and Kansas City network, Kansas City Southern network. It is massive. It goes from, looks like Veracruz to places like New York, Vancouver, and St. John. It is massive. A massive network.
St. John.
Canada.
New Brunswick?
New Brunswick, yes, Canada.
Wow.
And Vancouver, places like Vancouver, Edmonton. It is a massive network here that I'm looking at. Kansas City is also on here as well. It is, again, massive.
It's funny how most railroads in the United States, there's like the big five. There's Norfolk Southern, which is, they run Pennsylvania, New York, some in New York. CSX, what else we got? Burlington Northern, and Union Pacific, and I think there's a couple other ones. Those are the big 4 or 5, and they all pretty much have their little areas. They got their turf, per se. Sounds like these guys are everywhere.
These guys
are just everywhere.
with this merger, these guys become a big player. These two companies become, with this merger, they become a big player.
But they have to be like running other railroad tracks. They have to, because they don't own all the rail. Like Amtrak owns the Northeast Corridor, 467 miles from Boston to Washington D.C. Amtrak owns that. Some freight goes over that, not much. They have to cross it, I guess. But CSX owns pretty much the rest, and Amtrak has to pay CSX to run their trains. And sometimes Amtrak doesn't get priority.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah.
All right, we're not going over today.
Yeah, we're not going to go over today. We'll have more information about this in the coming weeks. If there's any more information that comes out about it, we'll definitely talk about it, because this could be a massive game changer. So we will talk about that.
It's interesting how the mechanics of it all is going to work.
Absolutely, yes.
But I mean, they're talking trains and rail at the end of the show, and that's why he's putting his hands out.
So, okay.
No rants.
We have one today in history. 1842, the first concert of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Otto Nicolai, takes place. Again, March 28th, 1842. March 28th, 1955, Reba McEntire was born. American singer-songwriter, producer, and actress. Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. American wrestler, manager, and sportscaster. born on this day in 1958. 1970, Vince Vaughn, American actor. He played in one of my favorite war movies of all time, Hacksaw Ridge. He was in that. He was very good in that movie. As many as all the other actors and actresses who were in there too. Did a very good job in that film.
I don't think that he's played a bad role that I've ever seen.
He's 51 today. And passing away on this date, March 28th, 1969, Dwight D. Eisenhower, the American general and politician. He was our 34th president of the United States. All right, that'll do it for today's program. I hope everyone enjoyed. And we'll be back next week for the April 4th? April 4th?
Easter Sunday.
Yeah, April 4th edition of Middleboro Review. So we will be back next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a great week. Right on time. Are you right on time?
Minute and 5 late, but that's not going to matter too much. Because
We are AM 1530, WVBF, Middleboro, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio
I
station.
can just... Well, I'm going to do a 5-minute news here, so... I'm going to do a 5-minute news, and that'll get us to 8:07, which is, that's fine.
Nothing's been working good.
USA
What?
Radio News.
Nothing's been working good.
For the second time in nearly 48 hours, extreme weather is putting millions in danger in the South. Christian Bridges posted this video from Mississippi.
This is crazy.
All right, bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for listening today. Join us next week, April 4th. It is Easter Sunday, so we'll have a lot of great programming and a lot of great show content for you for next week. Bye-bye, everyone.